The focus of this video, which is our last video on finding trig ratios, is how do I find a trig ratio when I am given a point on the terminal side of the angle. Alright, so how do I find the trig ratio given a point? Now, I've highlighted here the process. What you're going to do is make a right triangle with the closest x-axis. We'll look at a few examples here. You are creating a right triangle so that the trig ratio relationship can be applied. The x value is going to be your horizontal measurement. The y value is going to be your vertical measurement. The angle is going to be formed at the origin, and you'll see what I mean there. Sometimes we're going to have to use Pythagorean theorem. Remember that c squared equals a squared plus b squared. To find a missing side if I need it. And then what we're going to do is find the specific ratio that they want us to find and then simplify that fraction if necessary. Remember, simplifying a fraction means rationalizing. It does not mean give me a decimal approximation. Alright, so let's look at this first one here. They want me to find the sine of this angle. But the problem is this angle, I don't know this angle measurement. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to sketch this triangle right here. And I know that there is this point 84. Well, if we think about it, the points are always written in x and y form. Alright, I know that the x value is going to be this side of that triangle. Why? Because that's the positive x-axis. The y value will be this side. And theta is going to be this angle. It will always be the angle that is created with the terminal side and the x-axis. Now, they want me to find the sine of theta. I know that sine is opposite over hypotenuse. I don't know the hypotenuse. So the first thing I have to do is ask myself, c squared is equal to 8 squared plus 4 squared. How big is the hypotenuse? So let's see here. If I take 8 squared plus 6 squared, plus 4 squared, I should have said, that gives me that c squared is equal to the square root of 80. Now, I can either choose to simplify this now, or I can choose to just leave it as the square root of 80. Personally, I always like to simplify it. So let's see here. I know that 80 is really 16 times 5, and 16 is perfect. So then I know that c would be 4 square root of 5. So I'm going to put this side here as 4 square root of 5. Now I'm going to calculate the sine of theta. Opposite over hypotenuse. And that's the measurement of the sine of theta for a terminal side that goes through 8, 4. But now I have to simplify it, okay? The first thing that I see is I am going to cancel out these 4's. So let's see. I'm going to rewrite this as 1 over the square root of 5. I have to now rationalize that denominator. So this would be 1 square root of 5 over 5. And that's what the sine of theta is equal to. Alright, let's do a cosine here. Alright, in this cosine function, they give me the point 3, 4. I'm going to sketch a right triangle. And in this right triangle, I know that my x value is 3, my y value is 4. Now, because I know right triangles well enough, I know that this hypotenuse would have to be 5. If I'm not sure, I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem to figure that out. Alright, they want me to find the cosine of theta. And there's my theta. Alright, so the cosine of theta here is adjacent over hypotenuse. 3 over 5. I'm done. Alright, let's take a look at this one. How about the tangent? Alright, now notice our terminal side is somewhere else. No problem. I'm going to write the triangle or sketch the triangle in relation to the closest x-axis. Alright, so this is going to give me an x value of negative square root of 7, a y value of negative 3, and I'm going to have to use the Pythagorean theorem here to find the hypotenuse. There's the right angle, there's theta. Okay. So if I take negative, anything positive or negative and square it, we know it's going to turn out to be positive. All right? So I've got c squared equals, I can just forget about the negatives while I'm doing this. Square root of 7 squared plus 3 squared. So this tells me c squared is equal to 7 plus 9, or c squared is equal to 16, so c would be 4. There's my hypotenuse. To find the tangent, I really didn't even need to do that, did I? Because the tangent is from theta, opposite, negative 3, over hypotenuse, negative square root of 7. I just have to simplify that fraction. I didn't really even need the 4. That's okay. All right. The negatives are going to cancel out. I'm going to go ahead and also rationalize this. So I get 3 radical 7. Oop, not over 3, but 3 radical 7 over 7. Remember, when we rationalize, we're just multiplying top and bottom by that radical denominator. All right. How about the cosecant? Let's see. We've got a triangle here, and the terminal side is down in the 4th quadrant. No problem. I tend to always, when it's out of the 1st quadrant, I tend to like to identify where theta is right away, just so I don't get mixed up, and then put the right angle there. Okay, so I know that this is 3 on the x-axis and negative 4 on the y-axis. By the Pythagorean theorem, I know that the hypotenuse here would be 5. Now, cosecant is the reciprocal. Let's see, the cosecant, I know, is the reciprocal of the sine function. All right? So if I were to find the sine of theta, that would be negative 4 over 5. Then the cosecant would be the reciprocal of that, 5 over negative 4. And I always like to write it as negative 5/4. Always put that negative with the numerator. Done. All right, how about the secant? So let's see here. I've got a right triangle. All right, there's my theta. There's my right angle. I know that the x value is negative 2. The y value is 2 square root of 3. Secant, I am going to need to know the hypotenuse here. So let's see, I'm going to say c squared equals 2 radical 3 squared. Now I'm going to make a little adjustment here. 2 square root of 3 is the same as the square root of 12 squared plus negative 2, or 2 squared. All right, so c squared will be equal to 12 plus 4. C squared is equal to 16, so c would be 4. All right. I know that the secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So then the secant of theta, let's see, the cosine would be negative 2 over 4. So the secant will be 4 over negative 2. And if I simplify that, I get negative 2. All right, one more on this video. Let's see. There's my terminal side, creating this right triangle. There's theta. There's the right angle. I know that this side is negative square root of 15. I know that this side is negative 7. They want me to find the cotangent. Now, I don't have to find, remember I made that little error earlier. I don't have to find the hypotenuse here. I do need to know that the cotangent is the reciprocal of the tangent. Okay? So if the tangent is negative 7 over negative square root of 15, then the cotangent would be negative square root of 15 over negative 7. And I never want to leave a double negative there. So I'm going to write this as the square root of 15 over 7. I didn't have to worry about rationalizing because the radical was in the numerator. I hope this helps. Let me know if you guys have any questions.